We welcome you to Salem, Virginia and the Prager Center on the campus of Roanoke College. It is time for the 2025 D3 Women's Basketball Semifinals. Our first matchup, defending national champion NYU taking on Wisconsin Stout. Take a look at the bracket here. Wisconsin Oshkosh will take on Smith, the national runners-up from a season ago, in our second game later on this evening. Right now, though, our focus on the Violets and the Blue Devils with a spot in Saturday's championship on the line. Hi, everybody. Jeremy Franklin alongside Kelly Burke. And Kelly, two teams with different experience levels taking the court here tonight.
We got the new kids on the block in Wisconsin Stout. 5 returners and starters back this year, but their first time ever to the Final Four, going against the Grizzly veteran in NYU, who's riding a 60-game win streak and is the defending national champion.
Plenty of star power throughout championship weekend, and for NYU it starts with the two-time National Player of the Year.
And Natalie Bruns, the definition of a complete player, already has the Violet school record in blocks. Look at the number, 17.6 rebounds per game. But she's also developed a three-point shot this offseason, and she is an elite passer for a big at 5 assists per game. Meanwhile, you've got Wisconsin Stout, powered by guard Reagan Sorensen, plays much bigger than her 5'7" size. She can elevate over defenders, great turnaround, nightmare first step off the bounce. She had a career-high 33 points in that Elite 8 win, and defensively, she's a ball hawk at more than 2 steals per game.
Sorensen leading a veteran Wisconsin Stout senior class, new to the national stage in terms of championship weekend, but several players on the roster who have started well over 100 games in their career. Our starting lineups are being introduced. Wisconsin Stout will send out a bunch of those veterans. Along with Sorensen, it will be Sam Schaefer, Amanda Geeson, Anna Much, and Lexi Wagner. You've got 4 seniors and a graduate student in the Blue Devils starting 5 for Hannah Iverson.
And even though this is their first time to this Final Four, this is an experienced group. They spend a lot of time playing together, and they communicate so well on the floor.
For NYU, it starts with Natalie Bruns, but it does not end with her. They have 2 other All-Americans in the fold, and Belle Palekia and Caroline Pepper, Jamie Behar, the grad transfer, and Brooke Batchelor rounding out the Violets starting 5.
And what really stands out about NYU is the depth that the Violets have overall. You will see a lot of players come in and see minutes, especially because NYU, for a lot of this season, has dominated their opponents.
Take a look at some of the key things to know for tonight's contest. As we told you, first national semifinal appearance in program history for Wisconsin Stout. They've been a very efficient offensive team, and the NYU graphic tells you pretty much all you need to know. They have been the dominant force in D3 for the last 2 years.
Just an incredible run that NYU has put together, and not just at the Division III level, among all levels of college basketball, both men's and women's, but NYU has shouldered the bullseye, even dating back to last season. Wisconsin Stout, though, a 5-out offense. They do a great job spacing you out. So I'm really interested to see this contrast between the two squads. Both teams like to push in transition and force a lot of turnovers.
Meg Barber's team has the target on its back. And when we talked to Hannah Iverson, I think you were hedging about whether or not to call them an underdog. And she said, yes, call them. We are the
Yes.
underdog. Let's embrace that role.
And this is a role that the squad is completely going to buy into this entire tournament, because they're not feeling the pressure, because NYU is the one on that 60-game win streak. So they're leaning into that David versus Goliath kind of matchup, and you're going to see a lot of energy from this Wisconsin Stout squad.
Coach Iverson, who was a great player at Green Bay at the Division I level, went to a Sweet 16. At the helmet, you saw Meg Barber, her counterpart. So we are underway here at Stout in navy and NYU in gray. So the early look is out front for Caroline Pepper. And a reset here for the Violets. The baseline floater is off target, and Wisconsin Stout's got it.
And the Blue Devils do such a good job communicating on that defensive help. But already pushing in transition before that Violet's defense can get set.
We talked to Coach Barber. And she said our offense really starts with our defense with the ball pressure, but it's Stout with the first bucket of the game as that rims in for Reagan Sorensen.
And there's that turnaround by Reagan Sorensen. Does such a good job. Has great hops, able to elevate over defenders, even though she's only 5'7".
Got a foul at the other end on the drive there. And free throws coming for the Violets. This is Natalie Bruns at the line. Again, named the WBCA National Player of the Year for the second straight season. The stat stuffer leading the team in points, rebounds, assists, and blocks, does just about everything for this Violet squad.
The definition of a do-it-all player is Natalie Bruns.
So we are just over a minute in to this national semifinal, and on the attack it's Sorensen. She's seen the ball go through the hoop twice.
Wisconsin Stout is doing a really nice job in transition of breaking the Violets press. You'll see NYU wants to press basically every possession, and so not allowing NYU to get into their half-court defense because really pushing the pace.
And what a start here for the Blue Devils. Got the 4-0 lead, got the basketball back. It is not just Sorensen. They have 4 double-figure scores. We talked to Hannah Iverson. She said, you're lucky in basketball if you have a big 3. They've got a big 4. Sorensen, that was halfway down, hops back out on her.
That's what makes Wisconsin Stout so difficult to defend, because this team is so balanced. You can't key in on one player. You can't key in even on 2 or 3 players.
So NYU trying to get on the board. You saw the free throw misses for Bruns. A team that had slowish starts compared to how dominant they've been all season in both of the sectional games against Geneseo and against Gettysburg. But the reverse layup for Brooke Batchelor. NYU's on the board here in the semis.
That was just an athletic move by the sophomore. Quick steal, too, for NYU. And this is where the Violets get so many of their points off of turnovers with that pressure full court.
That was really what opened the games up in the round of 16 of the quarterfinal on the Gettysburg campus. Once that press started generating some offense. Stout able to break it this time, but NYU continuing to fly to the basketball, the mid-range. Unlucky that time for Lexi Wagner. And quickly up the floor, counted for Bruns, and she's fouled.
Bruns is doing a great job of rim running in transition, got ahead of her defender, demanded that basketball, and finished through contact. And look at the way she runs the floor. Great job getting to the middle of the floor in transition. And then Bruns, the senior, finishing things off inside.
Normally a very solid foul shooter, 79% on the season. She and Belle Palekia have collected lots of hardware from the University Athletic Association. And Bruns gives the Violets a 3-point lead. Any made basket, NYU's going to ramp up the defensive pressure. Good defense there as Geeson misses over top of Behar. Here's Palekia off the window, no.
And this is where you're going to see the depth of each team be so important, because this tempo back and forth already high flying, especially in transition.
Sam Schaefer off the mark from 3. Not a big time scorer, the true point guard for this Stout team. The outside shot is off the mark there for Behar. Going back to the Blue Devils here. Got off to the great start, but NYU has quickly found a second gear.
Yeah, you just felt like the opening minutes were a little bit of nerves by NYU. You're feeling the pressure a little bit. You want to get back to that championship game, and you just have to let the game come to you, and you do that on the defensive end. Here's
Geeson with the kick out. Stout beat some really good teams on its way to the national semifinals. Pretty much have to make it this far. They get the whistle against Bruns this time. And free throws coming up for Wisconsin Stout.
Stout does such a good job with their ball movement. That ball does not stick. It pops around the perimeter, and very intentional timing on their cutters to the basket, especially there by Rosella Willie.
Willie, the junior from Camden Falls, Minnesota, has played in every game this season. Started 9 games. If you look at the season box score for Wisconsin Stout, you'll notice not a lot of players played 30 games. They have had some injury issues that they had to work through, but Coach Iverson telling us she thought it made them better in the long run.
Yeah, it's really gone through 2 to 3 iterations of this team to get to where they are now, peaking at the right time. Everybody's healthy. Their first trip to the Final Four.
I hope for Coach Iverson's sake you knocked on wood when you said that.
Yes, I did. We got a wood table right here.
1-point game after the free throws from Willie. Step back is off target there for Batchelor. Amanda Geeson, just over 12 points per game, but one of the players who has stepped up in this NCAA tournament. Shot clock is under 10. And a much on the drive, the post up, everything but the finish.
And those are the shots against NYU that you have to be able to finish at the rim. Great job using the pivot foot.
Bell Palecchia so quick, bursting to the rim for 2.
Well, I ran into Bell Palecchia's mom in the bathroom earlier, and she said that she gets her fieriness from her mom.
This time, Geeson able to finish at the rim, trading blows here, and a 1-point lead for NYU now. Pepper had the outstanding game against Gettysburg in the national quarterfinal. Bruns trying to work it inside to Behar, and there was a Stout foul on the play.
It's been a back and forth battle so far. And how about this job in transition by Bell Palecchia? Then back the other way, though. Amanda Geeson going off the bounce. Both teams right now doing a great job attacking the paint.
Foul was on the floor, but it is the 4th team foul on the Blue Devils. Next one would put the Violets in the bonus. 2 down low for Caroline Pepper. At 29 against the Bullets of Gettysburg to get NYU back to the national semis. A foul out front on Batchelor. That'll take us to our first timeout. Got a good ball game brewing here in the national semifinals. A 3-point lead for the defending champions, NYU.
As a business owner, I've got a lot on my plate. That's why I use ZipRecruiter to have
trouble when I'm drafted to the W. I've been working hard.
Welcome back to Salem, NYU, with the early 3-point advantage against the Final Four debutantes, Wisconsin Stout. A look at the Blue Devils here. The WIAC had a great season, and Stout right up there with the best teams in that conference. Second straight year with 20-plus wins. They were in the Sweet 16 last year as well.
Yeah, and really building off of that Sweet 16 appearance last year. This group of 5 starters back, and the rest of the returnees motivated by losing in that Sweet 16 round. Felt like they came up short last year, and so took it into this season and have carried over the momentum.
Scored the first 4 points at this game. NYU has answered with the run. And Reagan Sorensen is sitting with 2 personal fouls, so something for the Blue Devils to contend with. Instead, it is Anna Much with the turnaround baseline jumper. Stout back within 1.
Anna Much has to continue to work that mid-range game. That is her strength, and especially with Sorensen on the bench, she's got to pick up the slack.
Had 31 points and 12 rebounds when they beat a top 10 team. Whitman at home in Menominee in the second round. But Bruns elevating in the lane. That's going to be hard to stop.
Yeah, Mary-Kate Fahey, Bruns in the lane, but 12 points already in the paint for NYU, really exploiting that size advantage and the physicality.
The size and the length and the athleticism has bothered pretty much everybody that the Violets have played this season, including in the NCAA tournament where they won every game by at least 21 points, 60-game winning streak. They have not lost since the quarterfinals 2 years ago.
It's just amazing the run that this Violet squad has been on, and it starts on the defensive end of the floor, forcing about 25 turnovers per game. A third of their offense comes turning the points in transition and from those steals.
And they're not hitting a lot of buzzer beaters. Average margin of victory just under 40 points per game. It's astounding what they've done this year in particular, but Geeson going right at the Violets and scores at the rim.
I love the way that we have seen Amanda Geeson really attack the paint in this game. She's got that quick first step to get around her defender.
So far, Stout hanging with number one. It's a great feed from Bruns inside. The Bachelor shrugs off the double team. NYU resets here. The shot clock down to single digits. Corner three for Bachelor, no. And the box out for Mary Bird as the Blue Devils have the rebound to Palekia. Four-time UAA Defensive Player of the Year, showing us why.
And picking up, doing what she does best, causing deflections and steals and turning them into offense the other way.
Those live ball turnovers have undone a lot of NYU opponents this season. Geeson given a little bit of space, short on the three. And a much with the hustle play, but didn't have a teammate to save the ball to.
Bella Palekia, all defensive team player. And look at the way, just gets a piece of that ball, deflects it to herself, finishes the other way. She gets that feistiness from her mama.
You fall asleep for a split second, too. And that was not a press. That was just an individual play. Palekia saw Wegner looking down the floor. Grabbed the ball for the easy two. Pepper spotting up from the outside. Still have not seen a three-pointer go down at either end. Offensive board for the Violets. And an offensive foul is called. It's going against Bruns, I believe.
I think it's actually against Caroline Pepper. Extended that forearm a little bit, trying to create space. And the minute you bring that forearm out, it's an automatic call from the official.
Thought they had called something off the ball, but you're right. It was that forearm thrown out there by Pepper. Final 2 minutes of the first quarter. One possession game so far. And there is a foul on a bad screen there as Much had handed off to Schaefer. Kept moving right through the defender.
That was all caused, though. NYU turning up the pressure a little bit, making even the entry pass to the wing difficult. And it's frustrating Stout right now, trying to create space and going to pick up the offensive foul as a result is Amanda Geeson.
Checking something over at the scores table here. That would be the first foul on Much. Wonder if it's the player ID from the previous foul, because I thought the official said 32 runs when it was clearly Caroline Pepper. And that is indeed what they were working on to change the call. On the NYU offensive foul in that last possession, it was indeed Pepper, not Bruns. Pepper's got it. Now Bachelor. Baseline drive, Palekia, great catch in traffic. Bruns is open on the outside. There's our first triple of the night.
Just great recognition from Eden Williamson, making the extra pass to Bruns on the outside. And that three-point shot is an area the senior has worked so hard on increasing her field goal percentage on this offseason.
The cut for Wagner. Been a couple of chippies where Stout has done the hard work, just has not been able to finish at the rim. And at the other end, Bruns is stripped by the freshman Mary Bird.
And look at the ball movement that NYU has had in this game so far. Stout will switch everything. Help defense comes. Everybody out of rotation. So back around the perimeter, and Natalie Bruns finishes finishing things up with a three-point look.
All 5 starters for NYU average over 1.5 assists per game. Bruns off the charts at 5.2.
And remember, the Violets lead the country in assists per game at over 23.
There's Pepper, the floater, no good. Batchelor, the offensive rebound, fresh 20 for the Violets.
Rebounding battle is going to be critical in this game for Wisconsin Stout, especially with some of the three-point looks that NYU is taking. We've got to put a body on someone.
It's Enid Williamson. A kick out to Palekia, who missed everything that time. And Stout will get it back with just over half a minute to go.
Wisconsin Stout, their main objective is to take away the paint, make everything in the paint hard for NYU. So you're okay with giving the Violets some three-point looks, especially when they're contested like we just saw.
Potentially a big possession here for the Blue Devils. They've hung around here in the first quarter. This 6-point margin is the largest lead for NYU. See if Stout can get a bucket here. They've weathered the foul trouble too, with Sorensen picking up those 2 early personals. Another steal for Palekia, the run out for 2.
But it all starts with the ball pressure, because he had a miscommunication, couldn't get that ball. Another steal, and this time it's Bruns taking it in, but couldn't finish it off. Does draw the foul though. But it's the ball pressure getting picked up immediately at half court, and miscommunication on a teammate cutting off ball to try and go back door. But see, overplaying and then a little miscommunication. Sam Schaefer thinks she's going back door to try and get open, and that leads to the steal and take the other way. Then Bruns just doing a great job anticipating in the passing lane, just couldn't quite finish at the rim.
It happens so fast with this NYU team. This is what 1, 2, 3-point game most of the way, and all of a sudden Bruns is shooting for a 10-point lead.
Already 9 points off of turnovers for the Violets, but this is what NYU does. They blitz you, and it could be 30 seconds, and all of a sudden they're up 10 points.
The Violets don't get a ton of scoring from their bench, but they do have some valuable players coming into the game, including Zara Alexander. And for the last few seconds, Stout hoping for some points right before the buzzer, and Geeson will be heading to the line.
That's where Amanda Geeson has been at her best, pushing the pace in transition and attacking the rim. She's taken it coast to coast several times in this game already, and a chance to pick up some points at the free throw line, just splitting defenders there, doing a nice job off balance with that look.
Geeson has been remarkably consistent throughout her career. The senior has averaged between 12 and 12.4 points per game in each of her 4 seasons. Just 0.2 of a second to go. 1 of 2 there for Geeson, and that will take us to the end of the opening period. NYU, #1, and looking to defend its national title with that late run, as the Violets will take a 9-point lead into the break here in Salem. 9 straight games. Antelopes of Grand Canyon, who play Baylor tomorrow in the first round, 30 straight, but those both pale in comparison to what Meg Barber's NYU team has done across the last 2 years.
That's incredible, and this isn't just at the women's Division I, Division II, Division III level. You throw in the men there too. These are win streaks that carry over to both. It reminds me, NYU already halfway to what UConn did, if you remember back to 2014 when they went on a 111-game win streak that spanned over 3.5 seasons. So Violet's certainly trying to chase that historic mark.
The progression for Coach Barber at her alma mater, turning them from a really good program into a true powerhouse. 2 quarterfinal appearances back-to-back in 22 and 23 as Bruns getting it done on the defensive end of the half court with the block going coast to coast. Does miss the shot.
But how about this? Hannah Iverson taking a little bit of a risk here in the second quarter, inserting Sorensen back into this game with 2 fouls. But it's a risk that I like, because you got to find offense, and she's your best offensive player.
And NYU with that big run, stretching the lead out to double digits, and then the free throw late makes it a 9-point margin. knowing how the Violets play, it can get away from you awful quick. I think you're right. They've got to get Sorensen back out there.
Most definitely. She can manufacture offense, and then she just brings a calming factor to the floor. Right now, Wisconsin Stout's just getting sped up, especially on the offensive end in transition.
Had a dead ball turnover, so at least no run out for NYU, but the Violets can be pretty efficient in the half court. In and out there for Pepper. Still neither team getting a lot of those long-range shots to fall. NYU 1 of 7 from 3.
And one thing that Wisconsin Stout talked today about, you got to meet the pass. Because NYU is going to overplay you. And how about Natalie Bruns? That's her third block of this game, and we're only just over a quarter into it.
That was Sorensen who got denied. And then it's Palekia with the finish. And the NYU lead has grown to 11. Off the press break. A look there for much, but it was contested. And another empty trip for the Blue Devils.
And right now, it seems like Stout getting some good looks at the rim, but they're anticipating contact, and they're altering their shots, anticipating that they're going to get to the foul line.
Maybe danger time here for Wisconsin Stout. Pepper, another clean look. Still can't find the range, and the rebound to Giesen. But another turnover for Wisconsin Stout. That's number 7. Those have already led to 11 NYU points. The margin that the Violets are ahead by right now.
And nearly 50% of NYU's points have come from taking defense, turning it into offense.
Runs the back down. There comes the double team with Giesen. Finds the open player, and Palekia has a wide open lane to the basket.
And you have to have your head on a swivel as a defender, because so much of that defensive attention right now going to the low post and Bruns that some of the weak side defenders are falling asleep.
The Violets doubling up the Blue Devils. Desperately in need of some offense here. Who can provide it? Put the ball back in the hands of Sorensen. Turnaround over 2 defenders. A tough shot, but it goes down.
Sorensen is at her best off of that turnaround look, the ability to fade away and elevate over a longer defender.
Well, Palekia and Bruns, you think those two might have played a few games together?
That ball was on a string, pinpoint passing, and Bruns did such a great job keeping that ball high as opposed keeping it on away from her defender's arms and going right up with it.
Wisconsin Stout needs a timeout. NYU starting to lay it on here. The only way the Violets can. Palekia to Bruns for 2. Back in a moment here on ESPN+.
$10.99 only at Chili's.
Now Palekia is doing it all in this game for NYU. Already 12 points, turning up the defense, especially in that full court pressure. 3 steals. She's turned defense to offense, 3 assists, and she is the complete player right now for this NYU Violet squad, who has built a sizable lead here by 13 points already in the second.
And we talked to Coach Barber about Belle Palekia. Talked about her heart. She said no one hates more to lose than Belle. That competitive spirit has helped lead this NYU program to new heights. They got a 13-point lead here on Wisconsin Stout as Hannah Iverson called that timeout. Points have been hard to come by for the Blue Devils. Some live ball turnovers and a lot of empty trips once they've broken the NYU press. Top of the key, almost banked in there by Sorensen. Offensive rebound, wide open is much, but that will not fall. Palekia hustled down that rebound. Half-court set here for the Violets. Working it inside. Bruns is denied at the rim, sticks with it and draws the foul.
And look at all the defenders that are around Natalie Bruns inside on that entry pass. She's getting all sorts of backside help, but it doesn't matter because she does such a good job of going up and getting that basketball and then making quick decisions in the post.
So Bruns back to the line where she's 3 for 5. 114th career start. As we've told you, she owns the NYU blocks record, actually shattered the previous mark, well over 300 for her career. Active Division III leader in that category. And don't underestimate what you see at the bottom of that panel. Elite 90 winner, highest cumulative GPA at the championship site. So getting it done academically as well.
3.96 GPA in cybersecurity. She is the epitome of a student athlete.
Now the Blue Devils struggling right now. NYU gets it up the floor to Behar. Pepper is open. Still can't get anything to fall from the outside. Caroline Pepper. 0 for 5 now from 3. You see this a lot, though, with the team that presses. They speed you up. Stout actually breaks the press, but then throws it away in the half court.
And it's forcing Stout into careless passes. These are not mistakes that this Wisconsin Stout team, who's so experienced, normally makes. But it's that ball pressure that you're anticipating defenders getting into the passing lanes. And like you said, it's not only speeding you up, but it's causing you to make careless turnovers.
Alekia unguardable right now.
Brooke is just taking advantage too. So much defensive attention inside is being concentrated on Natalie Bruns. It's opening things up for her off the bounce.
Sorensen off the bounce. She's got 8 points for Stout, but still a 14-point NYU advantage, and it's right back to 16. Transition after a made basket that time.
And that transition defense has to tighten way up for Wisconsin Stout. You cannot allow an NYU player to beat you down the court and finish in transition.
Missed layup for Geeson. There's Behar. That falls off the rim. And the Blue Devils have it back, but they're down by 16. Schaefer with the handoff to Much. Skip pass. Geeson had what looked like a wide open look, and then Bruns flies in from out of nowhere to impact the shot.
The message from Coach Hannah Iverson today at Wisconsin Stout Shoot-Around was we have to be the aggressor, be the more physical team. And right now, NYU is just out physicaling this Blue Devil squad.
Blue Devils will get the extended possession here. Mary Bird back on the floor, 12 on the shot clock. As the Blue Devils work it out to the perimeter. And bodies bumping in the paint. It looked like Much took the worst of that contact. Whistle goes against Eden Williamson. So that'll reset the possession clock to 20. Stout, in addition to the 8 turnovers, shooting just 30% from the field so far. Almost turned it over again, but Bruns made some contact against Sorensen. That'll be her second foul.
Unfortunate there because NYU, the last couple of fouls have really bailed out Wisconsin Stout. That initially looked like it was going to be a live ball turnover that was going to convert to offense on the other end for NYU.
So Bruns will have a seat, and we'll see NYU call upon its bench a little bit more heavily. Disbelief that the whistle went against her that time. See how the Violets manage their foul trouble now. Geeson attacking. A lot of layups that are just falling off the side of the rim.
And Geeson is actually beating her man. She has the first step. She just has to stay locked in and focus going higher off glass to make sure that she's finishing inside.
Final 4 minutes of the first half. Big lead for the Violets. Trying to book a spot in Saturday's championship game. Shot clock winding down. Batchelor gets rid of it. Behar will try a deep 3. No good. Big stop there for Stout. Sorensen running the floor, but the Violets have numbers behind the ball. Stout team that's been lighting it up throughout the NCAA tournament. Misfire on the jumper for Berg, and there's a Blue Devil foul on the rebound.
A little bit of a frustration foul, 90 feet from the basket.
The offense not coming like it has as of late for the Blue Devils. Put 81 points on the board against the number 5 team in the country, Scranton, in a true road game in the quarterfinals, won by 4. 17 in roughly the first 17 minutes of this national semifinal. Pepper will hand off to Behar. Quick release. And outside shots not falling for the Violets, so otherwise the lead might be even larger. And now we've got an NYU foul with Batchelor on the press.
Unfortunately for NYU, because they're getting so many points in the paint and so many points off of turnovers, despite not hitting the three-point with any kind of efficiency today, just 1 of 11 from distance, it hasn't mattered.
So we got a timeout on the floor. We'll keep it here. We talked to Coach Barber about the different mindset, different mentality from last year to this year. Last year's team felt like there was a lot of pressure. They had a good group coming back from a team that had lost in the national quarterfinals. She said this team is a little bit looser, and I think we're seeing that here in the first half.
This year's team feels like they earned the target on their back. And frankly, last year there was a lot of expectations and pressure. And so in winning that first national title, this Violet squad was able to kind of get that monkey off their back, and it has allowed them to play a lot looser and a lot freer this year. Really enjoy the process a lot more.
Violets have been cruising for most of the season. Stout dealt the first blow, the first couple of baskets scored tonight by the Blue Devils, but it's been all NYU since. And right now, with that 16-point advantage, they can probably afford to keep Natalie Bruns on the bench.
No doubt, and that's what's such an advantage when you get to the postseason, and especially the Final Four and beyond, is when you have depth like NYU has, it's okay, you can weather if your star player is on the bench.
She's already done her part here in the first half. 15 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 blocks. Currently sitting with 2 personals, cleaning up some moisture on the floor.
And keep in mind, Bruns this offseason, she initially went into the transfer portal, was exploring her options to see if she wanted to play up at the Division I level. But this culture that NYU has built, she's enjoyed it so much. She ultimately decided to come back, try and win another title, and to be back with her teammates because she just loves what NYU has built.
And it wasn't just any Division I schools that were interested. It was Power 5 schools, according to Coach Barber. No doubt she could play at the next level, but came back to NYU to try to win another national title.
It just really speaks to the special culture that Meg Barber has helped build in this NYU program.
It's a nice play for Wisconsin Stout, but the shots are just not falling. Sorensen got it on that high-low, sticks with it, and does draw the foul. That's all effort right there from Sorensen.
Reagan Sorensen is doing a nice job matching the physicality that NYU is bringing. She knows that the contact is coming. She's posting up, despite only being 5'7", does a great job going right up with it and then following her shot off the miss. But it's what we've seen all night so far from Wisconsin Stout is getting tremendous looks inside, just hasn't necessarily been able to finish them because they've been anticipating the contact.
Sorensen off target on the first of her 2 free throws, 76% free throw shooter. Coach Iverson said the best thing about her is her humility. Willing to do anything that it takes for the team. Really could have used those 2 free throws as the margin remains at 16. Malecki has got 14 points to go along with the 15 that Bruns has scored. A 3-second violation on the Violets here. Just their second turnover of the half.
You don't see that called a lot, but Behar was camped out of the lane for an extended period of time, so good whistle by the officials.
Sorensen dishing out to Schaefer.
I like this look now to try and post up Sorensen inside. She's doing a great job sealing her man on her back hip, and that was a great entry pass. Wisconsin Stout needs more of that.
Finally got one of those layups to fall. 14-point margin, under 2 to go.
It feels like if you can get a defensive stop here, if you're the Blue Devils, and then come back. Oh, and as I say that, only the second three-pointer of this half for NYU, and Caroline Pepper knocking it down. But defensive stops need to happen this last minute 30 for Wisconsin Stout and be able to get some offense going on this side.
Eventually, one of those was going to fall for Pepper. Just too good of a shooter. An offensive foul against Geeson. The charge drawn there by Jamie Behar.
Geeson saying, that's on me, got a little bit out of control. But how about Reagan Sorensen doing her part, doing a great job posting up inside at just 5'7". But the immediate answer, the other end, NYU has not been able to hit the long ball very well in this game. Was 1 of 11 before that Caroline Pepper three.
Up by 17 now, approaching the final minute of the second. Alekia handing off to Pepper. Pepper on the drive, the mid-range pull-up, took some contact and knocked it down.
Just great recognition from Pepper that if she would have taken even one more step, she would have been charged with an offensive foul, but great job with the body control going up in the mid-range look.
Behar gives the foul at the other end as Sorensen was making a beeline for the rim.
I really like the way that Reagan Sorensen is putting this Wisconsin Stout team on her back. Again, it was a risk. She's into this game with 2 fouls and came in early in the second quarter, but is finding offense and is doing it by attacking the rim.
And Sorensen, look at the numbers here. Just within the tournament, tied her season high with 33 against Scranton, one of 2 30-point games. She had 25 and 13 in the round of 16 when they beat fellow WIAC school Whitewater. Just outstanding play.
Cannot say enough about this senior and how she's raised her level of play in the postseason. 33 points in that Elite 8 win.
18-point lead for NYU, though. Pepper, shot will not fall. Rebounded by Schaefer. But NYU quickly forcing a turnover, perhaps. Now the officials conferring. It is going to be Stout ball with 35.9 to go. But they've got to go the length of the floor. And of course, the Violets have the press working. Sorensen gets it back out to Schaefer. Looks like the Blue Devils might be trying to melt the clock down a little. And an errant pass. It's going back to NYU. Turnover number 10 for the Blue Devils.
And a lot of those turnovers have looked like that. Just errant passes with one player not meeting the ball or anticipating contact that's not coming or getting whistled.
Chance for the last shot here for the Violets, and they will bring in another great shooter in Mary Kate Fahey. Stout will have to make sure they know where she is on the floor. See when Palekia chooses to go here. It's at 4. Palekia, kick out. Pepper for 3 at the buzzer. It is good. Count the bucket. They'll probably take a look at that, but as it stands, NYU has its largest lead of the game going into halftime.
I love that play call. Caroline Pepper with the hot hand, bringing a double screen for Palekia. Everybody on Wisconsin Stout thinks that Palekia is going to attack off the dribble, and it allows Pepper to find some space in a wide open shot from 3 on that wing.
Meg Barber has to be pleased with the first half of action as she is headed over to chat with us here. Eventually, those long-range bombs were going to fall for Pepper coming off that tremendous quarterfinal game when she set a career high with 29 points against Gettysburg. Get another look at this as they are reviewing that last bucket to make sure that it counts, but we do have Coach Barber down on the floor. And Coach, when we talked to you at the start of the week, it was all about defense generating offense, and you've got 20 points off of turnovers in the first half. Tell us about how that's working out. Coach, and we will let you go and talk to your team at halftime. NYU is in control here in the national semifinals. It's a 21-point lead over Wisconsin Stout here at the break in Salem.
The NC.
NYU with the large lead here at halftime. First D3 women's basketball semifinal in Salem, Virginia. When we talked to Meg Barber, the NYU head coach, she said Natalie Bruns and Belle Palekia drive the ship, and that certainly was on display in the first two quarters.
It's been a seamless start for the two seniors as the pair have combined for 29 points in this game. Natalie Bruns doing such a good job of rim running in transition, and then she's been fierce inside, has drawn two, sometimes three defenders. Great job finishing inside. Also can step out, has really worked on perfecting that three-point shot this offseason, can stretch the floor now. 3 blocks already in this game. She's doing it on the defensive end of the floor. Belle Palekia getting this offense going in a big way, exploiting her speed in transition. She's the defensive stopper for this Violet squad, turning defense to offense. 3 steals in this game for Palekia, and the senior has set the tone on the defensive end of the floor, has allowed the Violets to get 20 points off of turnovers. Belle Palekia, 14 points, 5 assists already, 3 steals.
Bruns and Palekia have combined for 29 of NYU's 41. Caroline Pepper has 10 as well. Assuming that buzzer-beating 3 stands, they are still looking at that. You see for Wisconsin Stout, turnovers leading to all those points. Even when they ran their half-court sets, they had trouble finishing.
They certainly didn't, and that's going to be a big area that Stout needs to get better at in this second half, is being able to anticipate that contact, play through it, and also just not getting sped up.
So NYU with the sizable advantage at halftime here. Well, we got a chance to catch up with Hannah Iverson, the Wisconsin Stout head coach. And Coach, if you're with this here, we talked with you about trying to handle the NYU ball pressure. Has to be a lot different seeing it in person than seeing it on film and in scout. Just tell us about the defense from the Violets in the first half.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's exactly what we were expecting. It's just our ability to handle it was pretty hit or miss there in the first half. I think their ability to score on all the turnovers, 10 turnovers, 20 points, that's a tough thing to battle back against a team like this here. But we have to get back to what we do, take care of the basketball, get them to guard our half-court offense. I think we got good shots. We couldn't find the bottom of the net a ton of times. We were 0 for 100 on behind the arc, and I think our ability to just work for good shots and be able to see the ball hit the bottom of the net is going to be key here in the second half.
Coach, what do you have to do? As you mentioned, you got some really good looks inside, especially when you were attacking off the bounce and posting up. What do you have to do to finish inside better?
Yeah, I think they're big bodies. I think, honestly, what we got to do is just be a little bit tougher, which is frustrating, honestly, because I think that's the thing we've done a ton in this season is just out-tough some teams. Now, NYU's a whole different beast, and so I think having seen them for a half here, letting us bounce back and be able to understand their size and athleticism and be able to just go against it and finish anyway is going to be huge for us.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck in the second half.
Thanks, guys.
So it's NYU on top of Wisconsin Stout by 21 at the break. Third quarter comes your way after this. Welcome back inside the Kreger Center. NYU on top of Wisconsin Stout 41-20 as we begin the second half. Jeremy Franklin and Kelly Burke back with you. Our poor officiating crew did not get a halftime break. They spent 14 of the 15 minutes looking at this last play. You see the top right corner of your screen, the clock glitched a little bit. It went from 0.1 back up to 0.3. That was the reason for the extremely long review, but they have counted the three-pointer for Caroline Pepper.
The officials actually had to get out a stopwatch and manually time this play back to make sure that Caroline Pepper did indeed get that shot off, but determined it does count. And so Caroline Pepper now 2 triples in this game. NYU, a sizable lead heading into the second half. 21-point advantage.
Pepper joining Bruns and Palekia in double figures. Reagan Sorensen, the only Blue Devil, in double digits with 11. NYU basketball as we get back underway. The Violets ran the table last year. And trying to get back to the national championship game. This is the first national semifinal appearance in program history for the team from Menominee, Wisconsin. And Bruns, who sat for a while with those two personals, handling the ball here for NYU, feeding Palekia. That foul will be before Palekia goes up, but it's number 3 on Reagan Sorensen.
And it's just a great job of drawing the foul on Sorensen with the off-ball cut, and all of a sudden the jump stop, forcing her to run into her.
Sorensen will stay out there. I think it's a gamble that Hannah Iverson just has to take right now. They could use some three-point shooting. They were not 0 for 100, as Coach Iverson suggested, but they still have not hit a 3, 0 for 8 on the miss there for Wagner, but a couple of steals already for the Blue Devil defense. However, Batchelor gets it right back for NYU.
And Sorensen, the only player for Wisconsin Stout in double figures with 11 points.
Season low 29.6% from the field in the first half. There is Palekia off the mark, and the box out and rebound for Gieson. Team that has scored 75-plus points in 3 of their 4 tournament games coming in. The exception, 62-56 in the round of 16 against Wisconsin Whitewater. On the attack, it's Sorensen. That's why she has to be on the floor right now.
I'm so impressed with Sorensen and how physical she is for only being 5'7". She plays like a big. She's not afraid to get in there and bang bodies, and does a great job creating space for herself off the bounce.
So first points of the second half go to the Blue Devils. Pepper and Bruns playing off each other. That high-low passing game. We've seen both teams execute pretty well. And free throws coming for NYU.
The guard play of NYU has been so good in being able to feed that entry pass into Natalie Bruns. And she does such a nice job of keeping that ball high. And in doing so, it forces the undersized defenders of Wisconsin Stout to have to foul her.
So Bruns back at the free throw line, 5 of 8 there now, as the Violets have their first points of the second half. Just so consistent throughout the tournament, throughout her career, 18, 23, 16, and 16. Those are her scoring totals through the first 4 games in this year's bracket. Pull-up is good for Sorensen. Blue Devils need a lot more of that.
To do a better job of not letting Sorensen get into the paint. She's been so electric from the mid-range.
Lexi Wagner with the block, and some energy right now from the Blue Devils bench.
This is the exact response that head coach Hannah Iverson needed to see from her Blue Devil squad here, getting some defensive stops and then finding their offense the other end of the floor.
Behar for the outside. Count it. Free throw coming. Contact on the release there, and a chance for a 4-point play.
Cardinal sin of basketball. Do not foul the three-point shooter. This is just a nice job by NYU, creating space and trying to fight through the screen. Amanda Gieson picking up the foul.
So correction, the foul was not on the shot. It was on that battle through the screen. So the three-pointer is good. And an extended possession here. NYU will get the ball back. And that's number 4 on Amanda Gieson. Inside to Pepper, back out to Batchelor. On the cut is Batchelor. But not the best pass that time at NYU with the turnover. Just the 5th of the game for the Violets.
Better defensive rotation, too, for Wisconsin. Stout, weak side rotating down on that help defense.
22-point lead for the NYU. And a much attacking for Stout. Throws it off the rim. No good contested shot. The Violets make sure it's one and done. Pepper transition 3, no. Sorensen wants to run the floor. Palekia got a touch. Sorensen does well to keep possession. Misses the turnaround in the lane.
That's a great shot, though. That is exactly the shot attempt that Coach Iverson wants to see from Reagan Sorensen.
She's got 15 of the Blue Devils' 24 right now. The only other player with multiple buckets is Geeson, who just subbed out with the 4 fouls. Behar offers the high screen to Pepper. Working baseline is Batchelor, but had the ball knocked away. And Stout able to grab it from the deck. The pickup there by Rosella Willie, who came in for Geeson. Back in the hands of Sorensen. Everything running through her right now for Stout. Bucket counts, and she's drawn number 3 on runs.
Reagan Sorensen just has a lethal first step. She has been unguardable off the bounce because look at the way she explodes past her defender to get that early advantage. And she finishes so well at the rim through contact, protecting that basketball.
She didn't even need the pole vault to elevate there. She's an all-region pole vaulter, an All-American in javelin. Took this year off from track and field. She's planning to come back for her grad year to finish out her track career, or in this case, field career next season.
You can bet, though, being a pole vaulter helps her so much with that body control and being able to finish at the rim because she almost hangs in the air.
Sorensen trying to put the Blue Devils on her shoulders. She's going to need some help, and they're going to need to find a way to string together some stops at this end. Here's Behar. She's hit a couple from that spot.
And I love that pin down look for Behar to get her open. She's had 2 wide open looks. And right now, Wisconsin Stout has to do a better job fighting through those screens.
Trail 3 will not go for Willie. And Behar grabs the rebound. Touch out front for Bruns. Behar to the other side. That one won't go. Offensive rebound to Batchelor. Post up for Palekia. High off the window and good.
Palekia, that was a high degree of difficulty on the guard post up rather. Had to go really high off the window. That was a tough angle.
The leaner for Wagner over the length of Pepper will not go. Saved in by Sorensen. Shot clock, of course, did not reset. Much off the bounce. Rainbow shot, no good. This time they do get a 20-second reset of the shot clock. Hustle play for the Blue Devils to extend the possession. Sorensen, that won't go. Bruns taps it to Behar.
And you're just wondering a little bit. Reagan Sorensen, her last 2 shots have been short. You're wondering, she's played so hard. She's played a lot of minutes. How much of her legs are starting to go a little bit?
Palekia short-armed the layup, and it will go back to Wisconsin Stout and take us to a timeout. NYU is rolling. That 60-game winning streak on the line as the Violets try to book a spot in Saturday's championship.
Out here.
Every team has to build an identity. Yes, NYU is the defending national champions, but before this season, they had a chance for an overseas trip that helped them create this year's identity.
Multicultural trip, got to go to Shanghai and see a lot of cool Chinese attractions, including Disney over there, but Coach Barber and her crew was saying that that trip was so instrumental because remember, the Violets had 2 returning starters. So you had players like a Caroline Pepper who came off the bench last year, and that was her opportunity over there to test out moving into a starting role and really thrived in that situation. So a lot of chemistry built on that trip that really set up this team for this season.
They have just kept it rolling, 29-0 coming in, a 25-point lead here. 4 minutes left in the third. Sorensen doing it all right now for Wisconsin Stout.
Little Aaron
19 points, yeah, a steal for the Blue Devils, and it's Sorensen who hits the lob.
Absolutely lethal mid-range game. I'm shocked that NYU is not doing a better job limiting her looks in that area.
Back-to-back buckets for Sorensen. Up to 21 points now, but NYU still leading by 21. Bruns across the paint, finds Batchelor for two.
NYU does such a good job making the extra pass, finding the open man when that help defensive rotation comes over.
There is Sorensen again.
Sorensen just textbook off-ball cut, back door, and was able to beat her man. Great pass inside, put it on a string.
Feed inside for Bruns, what a catch. Then it's fumbled out of bounds. A rare miscue by Palekia. And maybe, just maybe, a little bit of momentum for Stout coming out of the timeout. And a lot of that owed to the superhuman performance we're seeing right now from Reagan Sorensen.
Yeah, Reagan Sorensen has put this team on her back for Wisconsin. Stout, look at the numbers, 23 points. She's an efficient 11 of 18 from the field. But the rest of her crew has to do a better job of trying to hunt their shots and get in a better offensive rhythm. Just 3 of 23 from the field right now.
Misses a shot, gets her own rebound. But then a takeaway for Bruns.
And that's a pass that it has to be a better entry pass, but you also have to make sure that you go out and you catch that ball.
Here's Bruns, the handoff to Behar. Tried to reverse it, no. Good defense by the Blue Devils. Finally a bucket for Stout that doesn't come from Sorensen. That was Lexi Wagner with the take.
Yeah, I like the aggressiveness of Wagner there off the bounce. She's normally a sharpshooter, but putting that ball on the floor.
The Blue Devils catch a break as Pepper was left wide open, but there is a Stout foul on the rebound. So it'll stay at this end, and Behar will be at the line because NYU is in the bonus. Behar, 6 points and 8 rebounds. She averages 9.6 points and 4.3 boards. The grad transfer from Lehigh. And Behar connecting at the foul line. She'll get a break here as Eden Williamson checks back in. Trading points so far in this third quarter, which certainly works in NYU's favor. Still up by 21. And they force another turnover.
NYU does such a good job of just getting in the passing lanes, deflecting basketballs, very active hands. And so you have to do a better job if you're a Blue Devil guard of protecting that basketball, especially in transition when defenders are all around you trying to knock that ball loose.
Coach Iverson upset there, claiming that Rosella Willie was juggling the ball. NYU gets possession, and Coach Barber will take a timeout. We are all even here in the third period, but the Violets still with a hefty advantage in the national semifinals. We'll come back in just a moment.
Rain, make it rain.
Still a big lead for NYU, but Reagan Sorensen of Wisconsin Stout is putting on a show here in the third quarter.
Coach Hannah Iverson called Reagan Sorensen a special player. She's also a walking bucket, and she has been unstoppable in this third quarter. Elite mid-range game, can hit those off-balance looks off the bounce, attacking the rim, great body control. 12 of her 23 points have come in this second half in the third, 6 of 9 from the field. She is doing it all right now for the Blue Devils.
Hannah Iverson told us sometimes we have to ask her, do you know how good you are? NYU is finding out just how good Reagan Sorensen is, but the Violets, even with all that Sorensen is doing, still in control right now.
A little bit of a different half-court defensive look, trying to trap on the wings.
Just trying to disrupt a team that is used to being the disruptor. It's a block there, a good one for Much. Mid-range won't go, so Stout gets a stop coming out of the timeout.
I like the different defensive look coming out of that timeout for Wisconsin. Stout. It is something that 1-3-1 half-court D, something that NYU did work on briefly today at shoot-around.
Sorensen has it knocked away, gets it back, and then gets fouled. Reach in there on Eden Williamson. NYU had fouls to give, though, so it's just Stout ball out of bounds.
This is just great defense, but got her a little bit on the arm. Bell Palekia does a good job most of the time of not fouling. Just got a little bit overzealous there.
They did get Williamson, which is her third off the bench. Can the Blue Devils capitalize? Much. The post up. That will not go. It's Williamson providing the defense. Chance for a 2-for-1, but NYU doesn't seem interested in pushing it here. Palekia trying to feed Pepper on the back door, stolen away by Stout.
Just a great job of breaking up what was trying to be a backdoor look to the basket.
Wagner fouled on this shot. The Blue Devils still have not hit a three-pointer in this game, but they do have 3 free throws coming.
But NYU's done a great job overall of limiting Lexi Wagner's looks from 3. That was just her second shot attempt from distance, and she's the sharpshooter on this Blue Devil squad. And just getting her on the closeout was Palekia.
Wagner this season third in the country in three-point shooting, 46%. And it's 69 triples coming in. They often create looks just for her to shoot from the outside, but those have been hard to come by, at least clean looks for Stout tonight with the length that NYU has at almost every position.
Has had to try and run her off of stagger screens this year, try and find other ways off ball to get Lexi Wagner open, because she is at the top of basically every scouting report for her three-point shot.
She's made good on the first 2 free throws. Third one rims out. Final 15 seconds of the quarter. NYU will have a chance to add back to the lead. Blue Devils have made a very slight inroad into that. They were down 21 at the break. Currently 19. Palekia's got it. Away to Pepper, releases the 3. No, Batchelor, that would have counted, but NYU will have to settle for a 55-36 advantage with 10 minutes left here in the national semifinals. Winner moves on to Saturday's championship game.
But you're not a killer.
Start of the fourth quarter here at the Kreger Center in Salem, Virginia. Some of the team merchandise that is up for grabs here on championship weekend. As you can see, Wisconsin Stout stopped the bleeding, actually outscored NYU in that third quarter. Still a lot of ground to make up, but Reagan Sorensen and company battling here in the second half.
Blue Devils won the third quarter, and Sorensen, a huge part of that, has been unstoppable from that mid-range on that fadeaway turnaround shot, and now just needs to get a little bit more offense from her supporting cast.
You got to look on your screen there about the cheer section on the Wisconsin Stout bench. Have a laminated cheer sheet and bring a lot of energy. Had a lot more to cheer about here in the second half. Palekia, though, has the answer for the Violets.
Palekia's ability to break down defenses off the bounce is elite. She's just able to find those holes.
18 now for Bell Palekia, 19-point NYU lead, and another steal. Pepper got the deflection. It falls to Batchelor. Bruns wants it. Pepper gets it to her. Bruns scores.
Just way too easy. That was something that Wisconsin Stout worked touch on is the defensive attention, specifically on Natalie Bruns. No backside help came over, and just lobbing that into her, a bigger post player was able to see on the backside.
It is the first made basket of the second half for Bruns, but she's got 19. And the stop for the NYU defense, the lead back above 20 down.
Got the switch inside.
Yeah, trying to run that screen and roll action. Stout defended it well initially. Bruns hands off to Batchelor on the cut.
That is why Natalie Bruns averages over 5 assists per game, because she reads and feels out opposing defenses so well. If the double team was going to come over, that's what allowed her teammate to get a beat on her on the cut.
Tough two at the other end for Amanda Geeson, who set for a long time with those 4 personal fouls. And Bruns called for steps off that entry pass from Belle Palekia. The Bruns throw some awesome passes.
Look at this post passing from Bruns, drawing the defender over to fall asleep. Sorensen momentarily fell asleep on her, and that allowed Brooke Batchelor to score on that off-ball cut.
Batchelor's chipped in 6 points and has 12 rebounds in this game, leading everybody so far on the glass. Pass fake, and the bucket for Anna Munch, and she's got a free throw coming.
This good little stop and start for Anna Munch, doing a nice job of playing through contact. Little two-man game on the side ball string from Stout. Gets a beat on her defender and Caroline Pepper, and then does a nice job of playing through the contact. That was an area that Wisconsin Stout struggled with in the first half, but doing a better job right now of finishing through contact.
Three-point play for Munch, who's got well over 1,400 points and 300 assists in her Stout career. The Blue Devils doing their best to hang around. They've gotten it back down to 18. At NYU averaging a margin of victory of just under 40 points per game this season. They've won all 4 of their tournament games, coming in by at least 21 points, but another turnover here as Bruns again is called for steps. There you see that scoring margin, plus 38.2 per game. On the attack is Much. This time doesn't get the whistle. Seven minutes to go. NYU will slow the game down just a little bit, run a half-court set. There's Williamson with the take, but the layup won't fall.
That was a pretty play set. Going to the high-low there off the double stagger. Just couldn't quite finish.
Sorensen is human as that one rims out from the elbow. And here's Palekia running the floor. No numbers. She'll pull it back out.
A good decision there by the senior point guard.
Runs in the high post. Now Pepper going back to the wing, and Sorensen jumps the passing lane, knocks it out with a shot clock at 10. NYU only 7 of 20 from the field here in the second half. They picked it up a bit in the third quarter. Misfire on the 3 for Batchelor, and Wagner ends up with the rebound. But a quick steal, and Palekia will knock that one home.
And it's the live ball turnovers that have been so costly for this Blue Devil squad. That time just dribbling the ball off of her leg, leading to the defense to offense.
Cannot give the Violets free possessions like that. Geeson draws the foul at the other end.
Wisconsin Stout's doing a better job of this half of attacking off the bounce and drawing fouls in the lane against this NYU defense.
So we got our second semifinal coming up at 7:30 tonight. Stout's WIAC rival, Wisconsin Oshkosh, will take on Smith, the national runners-up from a season ago.
WIAC was tough this year. 5 teams into the postseason.
2 of them who are out lost to other WIAC schools as well, including that win for the Blue Devils against Wisconsin Whitewater. Geeson converts at the foul line. Pepper at the other end drains the 3.
NYU has done such a nice job of finding Caroline Pepper off of those kick-out looks because the inside game has been strong. It's opening things up for the three-point shooters like Pepper. Already 3 triples in this game, and the Violets up big 66-45.
The Wild is closer than you think. But to get there, you might want all-terrain tires, off-road suspension, and steel-plated bumpers, and something that says Bronco on it.
Hey, hey, hey. What you got?
Score is even in the second half, but NYU with that 21-point halftime advantage. They've been able to manage the lead despite what we've seen from Reagan Sorensen. But the Blue Devils, if they had a chance tonight, probably needed to knock down some outside shots, have not hit a single 3.
And that's what's been a little bit surprising is because this Blue Devils offense is normally so efficient, shooting 46% from the field, averages about 6.5 threes per game. But this is what NYU does, gets you out of rhythm on the offensive end, and it starts in the backcourt like that, creating near turnovers, and has really done a nice job, the Violets, at capitalizing off the live ball turnovers they've gotten.
Most of that damage was done in the first half. Only a couple of baskets off of turnovers here in the second half for NYU. But again, had such a large cushion to work with. Did get the foul called on that play. So this is much for the Blue Devils. Alekia went for the steal, didn't get it. Quick recovery. Much has to shoot off the dribble. It looked like there might be something wide open off of the temporary 5-on-4. Instead, Much has to knock down the tough shot.
Anna Much, though, has had a good second half, really hunting her shot and doing a better job finishing in the paint.
Finally providing a bit of help for Reagan Sorensen. And we've got a foul called against NYU. Bad screen on Bruns, and that will be her 4th. So Bruns, the handoff here, clearly moving there. Nearly picked off Anna Much. Bruns staying out there with the 4 personals. Williamson, their reserve guard, also has 4 fouls. Bruns had to back off there, and Geeson takes advantage.
Just a nice job of Geeson. Sorensen pulled her defender out, and the defense concentrated on her. That allowed Geeson, once she got by her initial defender, had a clear line straight past the basket.
Alekia with 20 points in this game, 10 of 15 from the field. A lot of those points have been layups. Geeson and Sorensen both checking out here for Stout. Cannot imagine that either will be on the bench for very long. Looks like the call is going against the Violets here.
Looks like Alekia wanted the foul call. Might have gotten her feet tripped up with the defender, though, and lost her balance.
And it was just an offensive-defensive switch there for Hannah Iverson. Geeson and Sorensen right back on the floor. Geeson, the player who hit the go-ahead bucket. A ricochet off the backboard is how Coach Iverson described it in the quarterfinal win at Scranton. Blue Devils down 17. Just over 4 minutes to go. Sorensen, pull up, mid-range, rolls off.
Nice job by Sorensen. She got the switch there, but had the taller Caroline Pepper switched onto her, and that length seemed to have bothered her on that shot.
At the other end, Pepper took a bump out front from Much. Just the second team foul on Wisconsin Stout in the quarter. It's also the second personal on Much. Blue Devils taking every opportunity that they can to get Gieson off the floor on defense, sitting on those 4 fouls. Another quick foul given by the Blue Devils. This one's on Mary Burke. Stout ratcheting up the pressure here. They need some takeaways.
You also don't want to be careful because they're going to put NYU into the bonus.
Well, they went from 1 team foul to 4 in just a handful of seconds. They had a lot of fouls to give. Now they have 0.
You'll typically see teams do this late in the game, maybe 90 seconds, a minute left, but with a 17-point deficit, it's an interesting strategy.
They back off just a little bit here. Palekia on the attack. Had it knocked away, got it back, and then draws the foul against Willie.
Well, this has been a much better defensive half for Wisconsin Stout overall, but where NYU gets you and so many other teams this season is the way that they blitz you in the first half defensively. Lucky doing a nice job of sticking with that basketball through the contact inside. And when you're able to get a double-digit lead in that first half, it's so hard as your opponent to have to play from behind.
A lot of energy, I'm sure, has been expended by the Blue Devils just to hang in there, make the slightest dent in NYU's advantage. But the lead going to right back up to 19 as Palekia cans both free throws. Averaging career best numbers in scoring this year, over 14 a game. He's got 22 tonight. Sorensen, no. And the rebound to Bruns. Natalie Bruns stuffing the stat sheet as usual. 9th game this year with 10+ points, 5+ rebounds, 5+ assists, and 3+ blocks. She'll get it here with the shot clock winding down. Try to find Pepper on the cut.
That was a great give and go by Pepper. Looks like everybody defensively thinks that Natalie Bruns is going to put that ball on the floor and go get her own shot, but Pepper with a great off-ball movement to draw the foul.
Pepper cashing in at the foul line. Again, trading points throughout the second half. Sorensen with 2 at the other end, up to 27 now.
Sorensen does such a good job of pushing tempo in transition and then the ability to create separation off the bounce when she attacks.
Time running out here on Wisconsin Stout. 2:20 to play. We have seen NYU be just a little bit more deliberate in their half-court sets down the stretch. Tough pass for Batchelor, does well to keep it alive. Bruns for 3, won't go, but NYU eats up about 30 seconds of game clock. Inside of 2 minutes to go here in the national semis. Wagner wanted to pop the 3. Williamson has other ideas. So instead, Sorensen will take 2 more.
Sorensen just capitalizing there. NYU switched on that, so Sorensen was able to blow by her man off that switch. And she's so good of attacking off the bounce, finishing at the rim.
It has been a much better second half here for Wisconsin. Stout, they again have outscored NYU since halftime. Like you were saying, though, the Violets, the way they blitz you with that press, opened up the big lead. There's just been way too much ground for Hannah Iverson's team to try to make up.
It's just really hard to simulate the speed of that press and the intensity of it, even when you have your scout team try and draw it up. And so until you experience it firsthand in the game, you know, it's really tough. There's just no way until you literally face it for the first time in real life.
You can see what's going on in the men's semifinals, an all-NESCAC battle out in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Trinity currently up by double figures against Wesleyan. NYU's playing in the second game tonight against one of their UAA rivals, Wash U.
Well, Coach just told me at shoot-around today from the women's program that, yes, they're going to be here for the second game of scouting whatever potential opponent they would face tomorrow in the title game, but they're also going to be watching on their phones what's going on in the NYU men's game, which tips off close to 8 o'clock.
Been a fantastic basketball season all the way around in New York. Minute 40 left here in the women's semifinals. Still a 17-point lead. Trying to get the traveling call where the Blue Devils there instead of reach and foul. And Pepper will shoot two. NYU men are in the national semifinals for just the second time ever. The other appearance came way back in 1994.
It's been fun for both of these programs to travel together on the road. You know, they're playing double headers and conference play, and then even share a gym every day at practice. There's 4 courts, and they flip-flop courts depending on the day. But these two programs do a great job supporting each other.
And there is travel in the UAA.
Yes.
You've got schools in St. Louis, Atlanta, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Rochester, the Boston area, and Chicago on top of NYU. Free throws in for Pepper. 72-53, minute and a half to play. And a bunch, the leader won't go. Rebound controlled by Pepper. NYU getting closer and closer to the finish line. And 2 more for Bachelor. How about that bounce pass for Palekia?
That's where NYU is at their best, is in transition, pushing tempo and making that extra pass.
And then Bruns, another block. The stuff there on Geeson as we enter the final minute.
Bruns just has elite footwork and timing, the ability to wall her man up, but to do it without fouling.
And the Violet fans starting to celebrate. Their trip to Virginia will be extended here. And they'll have a chance to claim a second straight national title. Bachelor, a miss, but just 30 seconds to go. That's a wonderful transition from Wisconsin. Stout the pass for Munch and the bucket from Wagner.
Wisconsin Stout can certainly hold their head high. This was a much better second half, much more momentum. Has to be happy with how they played these final 2 quarters.
Very nice gesture of sportsmanship from Meg Barber. She saw 5 players waiting to check in for Stout. And even though NYU had the ball with the shot clock off, she calls a timeout so they can get a taste of the national semis. You can see the emotion for the Blue Devils, this awesome senior class, which has taken Hannah Iverson's program to new heights.
Yeah, made history, this senior group, and Coach Iverson and her staff have done a fabulous job with this team of continuing to build this program up.
First ever national semifinal appearance for Wisconsin Stout. But it is NYU that'll be moving on to the championship game. 61 straight wins for the Violets, and they'll play for the title on Saturday.
Just a complete effort from this NYU squad, and it started from the tip-off. Turning up the defense, forcing a ton of turnovers, and turning those turnovers into points the other direction. And then NYU capitalizing in the paint. Natalie Bruns got things going inside, and that eventually opened things up for the three-point shooters of the Violets, who, after a 1 of 11 start from distance, started to feel it. Caroline Pepper helping to lead the way.
Belplecki at 22, Bruns 19, Pepper 17. Reagan Sorensen led all scorers with 29, and Geeson had 11 for Wisconsin. Stout, the coaches, with the embrace there. And it's Meg Barber who will guide her team back to the title game. Take a look at the updated bracket. We've got another game coming up for you at 7:30 tonight. Wisconsin Oshkosh against Smith. And if the Pioneers win, we'll have a rematch of the title game. Either way, got a team with a chance to defend that crown in a couple of days.
Should be fun. NYU, a lot of fan support here. Just solidifying a chance here to potentially make it back-to-back national titles tomorrow. And now just await their opponent. And in doing so, they'll cheer on the men's team. Will they wait?
So we will say so long from Salem for Kelly Burke and our fantastic crew. I'm Jeremy Franklin. Thank you for watching this presentation of the Division III Women's Basketball Semifinals. One final reminder that it's Oshkosh and Smith coming up next. NYU, the win over Wisconsin Stout as the Violets take it 74-55.
Put in the work.